Hi, my name is Stuart Ziff and welcome to JamPlay.com. We're going to talk again now about another rhythm part for playing blues. And this is probably the first thing that most of us learn when we learn guitar. It's a part that is a blues rhythm part, but it's also a part that's a rock and roll rhythm guitar part. In rock and roll, it would be kind of Chuck Berry-ish. In the blues, it would be this, with just a slightly different emphasis on the groove, where it's being placed. In the blues, it's based on a triplet. In rock and roll, it's based on eighth notes. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the blues aspect of this part. It's been called many things. Some people call it a low-cut boogie. Some people call it the Jimmy Reed rhythm part. It's definitely part of Chicago blues. And it's important to know it. It's important to know a couple of different ways to play it. And I'm going to demonstrate those 3 ways to play it here for you today. For the sake of this lesson, we're going to be playing in the key of G, because that's what key the track is in that we're going to be practicing along with. On that track, you're going to hear a supportive rhythm part. And this guitar part will fit very nicely with that rhythm part. So in essence, you're building a serious rhythmic foundation here with these 2 guitar parts. The other guitar part that you're going to hear is something that's sort of based loosely on a flat tire shuffle. It's a rhythmic variation of that. It's more of a chord riff, and you'll hear it in the track when I do the play along. But for now, let's look at the part that we're going to learn today. And as I said, this is one of the very first things that we learn as guitar players. We're going to play here at the 3rd fret, and we're going to be playing the root and the 5th, G and D. We're going to alternate the D with an E. Now right now, I'm going to play it very open. In other words, I'm not going to palm mute the guitar at all. And if you notice, I'm playing it with downstrokes. No up and down strokes. It's not this. You can hear the subtle difference when you play up and down. It's really supposed to be played with just downstrokes. It gets a nastier, meaner kind of a cutting kind of tone. And if you throw on your bridge pickup, it really gets nasty. Now, that's one way to play it. Another way to play it, I'm going to flip back up to my neck pickup, is to palm mute the guitar. So you would take the palm of your right hand, your picking hand, and just sort of lay it in the back by the bridge. And it gets kind of a rubbery, bouncy kind of tone to it. That's the kind of sound you want. Think about a rubber band or a ball bouncing. Very percussive. Now, a third way to play this would be to play it open, but would actually be to pluck with that rhythm. And if you've ever heard a classic tune by Bill Doggett called Honky Tonk, that's the guitar, that's the rhythm guitar part of the song. So those are the three ways to play this rhythm part. And like I said, since it's one of the very first things that we learn as guitar players, it's important to know the little variations and the little subtleties that you can bring to this part. And as I said before in a previous lesson about playing the flat tire shuffle, a lot depends on what style of blues you're playing, what your rhythm section makeup is. Are you playing with a keyboard player? If you're playing Texas blues, a lot of times you may want this open kind of sound. Some Chicago blues has that tone to it. Other times, depending on how everybody's playing, on the tempo, are you playing with a keyboard player? If the keyboard player is really laying the changes in there in a nice way, and a very funky, greasy groove, you may want to mute it and be a little bit more plucky with it. And if it's got that old honky-tonk kind of feel, then you play this part. So like I said, you have to use your good judgment, your taste, and a lot of that obviously comes from experience. So the more you get out, the more you play with other musicians, and the more you play different styles of blues, you're going to start to encounter these things. And as with anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more it becomes second nature to you as a musician, and that's what you want. So like I said, slow and steady wins the race. Now I'm going to play along with the track, and I'm going to play several different ways. I'm going to start out playing it with the muted style, palm muted, and just get it real rhythmic. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the Jimmy Reed style. And then at the end, to finish it up, I'll bring in the open style. Okay, so here we go. All right, so that was all three of those rhythm parts being played to a shuffle groove. The best way to practice these is at a good moderate tempo. You don't want to do it too fast because accuracy, articulation, time, and feel are all the things that you want to accomplish. So if you practice it at a slow, moderate pace, even slower than this track at first, that's fine. You know, put on a metronome, play along with the metronome, and just get it nice and even. Make sure that the feel is exactly the way it should be, and then bump up the tempo a little bit from there, and you'll see, slow and steady makes it better. So those are really the best ways to practice it. And as I said before, the more experience you have playing with other musicians, if you're playing in a trio situation or you're playing with a keyboard player and a lead singer who's playing harmonica, or you're actually playing with a horn section, whatever, in time you'll figure out when to make the right judgment call about when to play this rhythm part, when not to play this rhythm part. Tempo has everything to do with it. Style of blues, is it Chicago blues, is it Texas blues? You know, how urban is it, how primitive isn't it? And those kind of things all come into play. And like I said, in time it becomes automatic. You're listening to the drummer count off the tempo of the song. You hear where he's putting it, and you pretty much make a judgment right there on which part to play. So practice up, and good luck.